Hey team, Chef Eric Gephardt here today, and I hope you're doing well. We're gonna get into one of my favorite culinary topics and recipes, scallops, okay? Scallops over corn chow chow. Super simple, super fun, very quick cook. Let's get into the action. First things first, let's light the grill. Because we're cooking scallops, we're gonna do a relatively high...
Oh, that's so satisfying.
Yeah, it is satisfying. Like, you know, there's those Instagram channels, satisfying or whatever. That's it. So, natural lump charcoal, burns hotter, super cool, using a fuel source that imparts flavor. Let's get our firebox built. Let's turbo start this grill. So you don't want to put too much charcoal in your grill. You're going to inhibit airflow. You want to make sure you have good airflow. That way we were able to get this up to temperature in about 10 to 12 minutes. Let's go ahead and get started. Now we build that charcoal chimney. We could even move this lower if we wanted to and give it access to all that charcoal pile. Remember, heat rises, so we want to give this flame access to as much of the fuel source as possible to turbo start this grill. Don't forget, we want maximum airflow, so let's make sure that draft door on the bottom is completely open, and let's check that ash drawer to make sure that we've got good airflow. That is going to inhibit airflow completely, right? So there's these holes so that it can suck in air, but all this is blocking that airflow, so we're gonna get rid of this, and we're gonna have a much cleaner and quicker start. While this grill's getting lit, I wanna take advantage of that temperature as it's rising. So I've got one of my favorite accessories, the soapstone, which is so nice for those big, bold, blistering sears. Chickens like it. What we're gonna do is just set this beauty right on the top portion of the divide and conquer system. Notice how they've got this patch. It's gonna make sure this thing doesn't bust in shipping. So we're gonna go right on. And like I said, as this is coming to temperature, because when we sear the scallops, we want a really, really blistering sear. That soapstone's great for it. But as it's coming to temperature, I want to start rendering out some bacon. As it's coming to temperature, I want to render out some bacon. I want to start cooking some corn. So I'm going to use the heat of the grill as it's being lit to start cooking this dish. Because this is the first time we've used the soapstone, I'm going to take a paper towel and a little bit of oil and just kind of wake this thing up. Season it slightly on the top, and it's just gonna drink that oil up. Stunning. Soapstone seasoned up. Let's go ahead and cut this bacon, and I just want to cut it into nice little chunks. This is going to be the base for our corn chow chow, and then as we render that bacon, it's going to provide enough fat content to sear the scallops. So we're going to have bacon seared scallops here. And we're in no rush, right? We're waiting for our fire to come to temperature, so this is perfect. And then we'll also use the residual heat of getting our grill started to cook our corn. Our corn is off to a kind of indirect start here. The flame is building underneath the soapstone. It's starting to accept that energy. Our bacon will start rendering out, crisping up. Once the corn's done, we're gonna slice it right off into that bacon, add a couple other ingredients. Our corn chow chow is gonna just start building with the grill temperature as it's getting ready for the scallops. It's been about 10 minutes. Let's give our corn a rotation. And we just want those kernels to soften up. Our bacon's begun to render, our corn's halfway there, and our flame is getting hotter and hotter. So we need to make a sauce for this dish. We're gonna make a barbecue beurre blanc. A lot of fun, super simple. First thing we're gonna do is get our pot on the grill. Let's start with 3/4 cup of white wine. And we're choosing white wine because it's got a fair amount of acidity. It's gonna go really nicely with these scallops, but not like a red wine, which is going to be a little too bold. So white wine and seafood generally pair really well together. Nice earthiness, nice acidity. Little lemon juice. It's going to brighten this whole thing up. And you want to put it in right now so it has time to reduce and become even more powerful. You get in a little seed there, feel free to take it out. Leave it in there, no big deal. We're going to take it out today. Last thing we want to put in there with the reduction is a little bit of diced up red onion. Look at all that beautiful bacon grease That soapstone's just drinking it up. Reduction is on. Let's take a look at our corn. That's us. And I like that char. That char for me is A-okay. And if it's just perfectly cooked and it doesn't have enough char, we would take our tongs and we'd move it back over to the fire and just give it a little of that flame-kissed char. So we'll leave that side on there to char up while we're cutting this other one off. You know, this is gonna play a nice textural contrast for the soft scallop as well. Just a little crunch. And I love these shingles. If we can get it, cut it deep enough to shingle a little bit, stuff like that, it just screams homemade to me. Grab that other one. And that's perfect. Not too much, but just enough to say, hey, I was on the grill. And just to double check and make sure that we're fully cooked here, we'll take a little piece. Perfect. It's still got a little bit too much of a bite, but that's a-okay because we're gonna cook it with that bacon and bring it up to temperature. So by bringing up temperature, it'll put that finishing touch and we'll be nice and finished. Notice how we're starting to get some bubbles here. We want to reduce this by 1/2 to 3/4. We're well on our way. All right, let's go ahead and get that corn in with the bacon because we need to finish it up. Nice color on the bacon. I like my bacon crunchy. Oh yeah. Now we're not making popcorn, so we got to make this happen a little fast. I want a touch of heat. We're going to put a little bit of jalapeno, not too much, just a little. All right, we're going to go on, drop it right in. Take these little beautiful tomatoes, slice them in half. This will bring a little sweetness and a little acid. Right on. And then instead of using tongs, I like to use 2 spatulas and just kind of push them to the center and rotate a little bit. Oh, and that looks spectacular. And we're gonna flatten it out just a touch. Oh, so good. Touch of apple cider vinegar. And just a bit of sugar. Oh yeah. Give it a good toss. Look at that. Screams freshness. The aromas coming off of this right now are a 10 out of 10. And we're gonna use that pinch method to go ahead and start our plating. That same motion, just kind of scoot it down a little bit, right in the center of the plate. Oh yeah. Let's take a look at our sauce. It's perfectly reduced. Just to give it a little body, I'm gonna put a heavy whipping cream in there. And those bubbles, as it reduces, is gonna help it thicken up and accept the butter that we're gonna put in it. Scallops, super easy, that's why I love them. They're absolutely delicious, but you can't do it wrong. Less is more. We're going on with one of my favorite seafood seasonings. The turbinado sugar in this Lane's Barbecue Q-Nami makes for great caramelization off that soapstone. You're still getting garlic, pepper, but that turbinado sugar, that little sweet that you don't expect, is so nice. So just a little bit on both sides. And remember, we're gonna use some of that residual bacon grease on the soapstone to sear these, but if you need a little extra olive oil, go for it. Let's bring it on over. And right on. This has been a lid up cook primarily for the entire time. As soon as I set these scallops on, I'm gonna shut the dome. Not because I want to stifle the airflow, but because I want a little bit more of that natural lump charcoal flavor. There's such big moisture content on those scallops. I want them to drink up a little bit of that natural lump charcoal flavor. Don't worry about taking internal temperatures. You know, we're not gunning for a certain grill temperature here. I know somebody's saying, hey, I didn't hear a grill temperature. Let's call it 550, let's call it 600 degrees. We just want a big, bold sear. And we're gonna see that in the scallop when it starts to turn brown or we start to see that caramelization. 45 seconds on each side is absolutely perfect. Remember, we mohawked the chow chow, so we're gonna move these scallops right on top of that. Now let's pull our reduction off and finish the barbecue beurre blanc. I like the look of our reduction. Chow chow is plated, scallops are plated. All we gotta do is finish the sauce. I've got some room temperature non-salted butter here. And I'm just gonna begin to mount that into this hot sauce. Look at that wind. Nice on a hot day. So this is a temporary emulsion, but don't let that throw you. It's pretty simple. Just don't add the next knob of butter until you can't see the last. And we ended up with about 1/4 of a cup of liquid when our reduction was finished. And we want to add about 1/4 of a cup of reduction in the pan. And now we're going to add 1 stick of butter or 1/4 pound of butter to it. Make sure that butter is room temperature so that it can melt a little quicker. Last one. And you can macerate it too. You can punch it up like that, stir it. Now we're going to take our room temperature barbecue sauce. I'm using a little Blues Hog here today. And we're going to whip it into our beurre blanc and turning it into a barbecue beurre blanc, a barbecue butter sauce. All right, let's walk it on over to our scallops. Remember, this is seafood, so less is more. Just a little drizzle right down the center. Oh, stuff of legends. Last thing I want to do is put a little cilantro in there. If you're not into cilantro, you can go parsley, but I like the earthiness. Just a little rough chop, nothing crazy, but a little greenery is gonna make this plate jump. Scallops, they're fast, they're fun, they're delicious. And they actually have 100 eyes. Check it out, they do. They're crazy, they move by jet propulsion, all crazy things. We just need one more thing to finish that up. And that's a fork, all right? Check it out. Bacon just screams crunchy. Corn screams freshness. These beautiful little cherries just drink up everything. Cilantro's punchy. Barbecue beurre blanc, what's not to love? Star of the show, the scallops look sensational. All that's left to do is give it a go. And I want to get every little bit. Oh, come here. That's a good bite. That's a good bite. That's what I've been missing. I'm sorry to talk with a mouthful. I don't know what to do with my hands. The bacon doesn't take over the whole thing. And that's Monroe bacon, by the way, some of the best stuff. I love this dish. This is a fully composed dish. It's got the vegetable, it's got the protein, it's got the sauce. The corn's bringing a little bit of starch. This is a wonderful, wonderful dish, sensational. Remember, scallops off the grill, super easy. Chow chow, refreshing and brilliant. We used the raising temperature of the starting grill to cook everything here. So a lot of fun, folks. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed that bite right there, do me a favor, subscribe, hit that bell button so you don't miss a thing. Like the video and do leave us a comment. From our backyard to yours, cheers and happy grilling.